Salutations, respected viewers. This is George from Ireland. This video is about the sudden prospect of an early Brexit agreement. Only yesterday, Michel Barnier, the European Union's chief Brexit negotiator, said that it's a distinct possibility that there will be a Brexit agreement come November. That doesn't mean that the United Kingdom would necessarily depart the European Union early. The UK is due to quit the EU in March of next year. So this turn of events is unexpected. Negotiations had been mired. How have they suddenly come out of the mud? Well, the European Union had been doing well in the negotiations. They had certain inflexible principles, and they had pushed Theresa May. Theresa May had drawn her red lines, which had gone blurry. Every time they pushed her, she retreated and retreated. So why wouldn't they keep on pushing as she kept giving ground, and they were pocketing these concessions? So the European Union has suddenly thrown Theresa May a lifeline. Well, curious to think why. Theresa May had painted herself into a corner by making contradictory promises. Remember, the parliamentary arithmetic dictated that she's dependent on the support of the Democratic Unionist Party. That's the major party in Northern Ireland, the one that's committed to keeping Northern Ireland inside the United Kingdom. So it seems that Theresa May couldn't possibly honour these different pledges, that there would be a soft border in Ireland, and at the same time that Northern Ireland would be treated no differently from the rest of the United Kingdom. So something's got to give. How could you possibly reconcile these promises? The DUP themselves wanted a porous border with the Irish Republic. Despite being hardcore unionists, they recognise just how popular it is to be able to travel freely and trade easily between the two parts of Ireland. So the DUP's own attitude was contradictory. I think the EU threw Theresa May a lifeline because they're worried about her being otherwise devoured by Eurosceptic wolves within her own party, as they'd seen it. Baker, this Conservative minister who resigned over Brexit, that it was not a hard line enough, he said that 80 Conservatives would rebel against the Chequers Agreement. That is Theresa May's blueprint for Brexit, and of course the Chequers Agreement is something that the Democratic Unionist Party find unconscionable. So, how can the DUP stomach this? I don't know that they can. Somebody's going to have to be disappointed, and it's going to have to be them, I suppose. So remember, Boris Johnson and David Davis, two big beasts, resigned from the cabinet a couple of months ago over the supposed Chequers Agreement. Now, Boris Johnson's been saying that the Chequers principles, that's a suicide belt in his typically memorable phrase. But I think that's, how would I put it, hyperbole from him as usual. He is, after all, a journalist. So I think the European Union was worried that the United Kingdom might leave without a Brexit deal, and there's an increasing chorus within the Conservative Party to just leave without an agreement, because I think the terms of the agreement that have been adumbrated thus far are unacceptable. And Theresa May has drawn up contingency plans to do just that. It was very foolish not to do so earlier. The unwisdom of not preparing for this possibility is that then the European Union doesn't think the United Kingdom was serious about possibly leaving without an agreement. I would prefer if there was an agreement, but and I would be willing to sign up to a fairly bad agreement. But if it's that dreadful, I think you have to leave without an agreement. So it's plaintive to observe that, unfortunately, a reasonable agreement has not been arrived at yet and doesn't look like it's likely to be. So Theresa May has started to prepare. Now, the European Union does not want to leave without an agreement because it'll cause them a major headache as well, particularly the Republic of Ireland. It might be catastrophic for us if we can't have commerce between the two parts of Ireland. And of course, our major trading partner of all the EU states is our neighbour, the United Kingdom. So, and there would also blow a massive hole in the EU's budget to the tune of something like £40 billion. That's more like 45 billion euros. What are they going to do? Spending cuts, tax rises, more borrowing, a combination of all three? Not a good thing. And partly it's subsidies are keeping places like Hungary and Italy in the EU. They might well choose to leave if that were the case, if they weren't going to be getting any subvention. Well, I refer you to the work of a most celebrated and erudite scholar, Edward Burke, a lecturer at the University of Nottingham, and he said that the European Union ought to be a bit more flexible, and the UK can cite precedents, such as the Spanish enclaves on the coast of North Africa, Ceuta and Melilla, that they have special arrangements for trading with Morocco, which is not an EU member state. The European Union has made exemptions for North Cyprus, which of course is Turkish occupied, should be part of the Republic of Cyprus, an EU member state, and the EU has been broad-minded about that issue. Similarly, in the old days when the German Democratic Republic existed, that's East Germany in common parliaments, the European Economic Community, as it then was, gave a dispensation to West Germany about dealing with East Germany. So why not for the United Kingdom? Why not over the border in Hibernia? It's fascinating to note that the European Union doesn't seem trying to stop Brexit. Some people were hell-bent on thwarting Brexit altogether. The Liberal Democrats demanded a people's vote, as though the first one wasn't a people's vote. There are some Remain extremists within the Labour Party. There were even a few EU hotheads in the Conservative and Unionist Party. So there appeared to be some chance that Brexit wouldn't happen even nominally. Sir Vincent Cable, the leader of the Liberal Democrats, has all but admitted he's a failure. He has not managed to form an ultra anti-Brexit party, and he's going to stand down fairly soon. So that was one option. If the whole Brexit referendum could be reversed, that would save the EU an awful lot of grief, but doesn't appear that's going to happen. So I think the EU is a bit frightened that there would be a no agreement Brexit, and that would impact them severely, which is why they're trying to make things a little bit easier for Theresa May. There was always a chance there'd be a putsch within the Conservative Party and she'd be replaced by someone more charismatic. Well, that wouldn't be hard, but also somebody who would have the valour to lead the United Kingdom to a no-deal Brexit. Remember, Theresa May campaigned for Remain, so her heart's not in it. I suppose the EU is horrified of the prospect of Boris Johnson becoming Prime Minister. I don't think Bojo's going to become Prime Minister. He's yesterday's man, and he's just much less popular than he was. So he's lost a lot of his fan club. Anyway, so this is why I think there's this prospect of an early agreement. I'm not quite sold on it. I don't think it's definitely going to happen. And would I support it? Really depends on the terms. From what little I've heard, it doesn't seem to be acceptable for various reasons. The transition period I would agree to, but the United Kingdom having to abide by all the regulations, agree to abide by some of the regulations, depends which one. Regulations are not automatically bad because they come from Brussels or Strasbourg. They're not necessarily good because they originate in London. As well as free movement of people, I mean, that was just too much. I would want some immigration, obviously. I'd be daft if I didn't. But wanting to reduce immigration was one of the primary motivations for voting for Brexit. And there are many more reasons. All right, so that's it about the prospect of an early Brexit deal. Don't bank on it.